yesterday, which is just
Damn.
insane.
Right?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize we hit 300.
Yeah, we hit
I know.
300. We have a podcast. We have what? 3 ongoing fests right now. More. Like an upcoming zine. We have a wiki. Like, we have so much. The rec blog. Like, it's intense.
Oh yeah, the rec blog. That's going to be really awesome. And a writers meetup coming up because, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have the writers meetup. We have like a round robin. We have the sprints that are going all the time. It's just kind of insane in the best way.
Well, Crypto, you are now fandom famous.
I am not.
Oh, come on. Anybody who's like, oh, that Profound Bond server? Yeah, that Crypto chick, she's totally doing it. But yes, if you are not a member, please come and join us. It will be fantastic to have you here. We're super friendly. We don't really bite too hard unless you're in the crunchy channels, then it's a free-for-all. So I'm pretty sure the invite link is going to be all over our different social media. Just hop on over and come say hi. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, probably the easiest way to find the invite link is to just hit up profoundbond.net, which is our Tumblr. But if you go to profoundbond.net/wiki, it takes you to our wiki page. And right there on the front page of the wiki is an invite link. You can also get like a rundown of all of our various projects there. So that's pretty cool too.
Awesome.
All right. So we were going to talk fandom stories. The Fandom Life.
Who wants to go first?
You.
Oh, seriously? Did I just volunteer myself? Okay.
You totally did.
I totally did. Well, my fandom story, for just Supernatural and Destiel is actually fairly recent. I want to say maybe three or four, probably 4.5 years. Okay, maybe not so recent. Oh my God. I had a kid through it, so that's pretty exciting. When I first started Supernatural, it was just it was a toss between Supernatural and Lost, and I wanted something long to watch, and I didn't have a whole lot to choose from because I'm picky as hell. And my friend was like, "Well, you should try Supernatural if you're watching Lost because it's so much better." And I was like, "Okay." So I put on the first episode, and of course, Jensen Ackles' face and Jared. I was a big fan of Jared's baby face. Was what did it. I know a lot of people have these really profound moments with the show. I'm just like, no, they're just so pretty. And that was the end of it for me. So I binged through 9 seasons in about 3.5, 4 weeks. And then bought my ticket for my first convention because I either don't do it or I do it with jumping in with both feet. Bought a ticket to go to CCon. I am fairly close to Seattle, but I'm on the other side of the border. And then met my super awesome friend who got me into cosplaying. So we went as a Destiel cosplay. She went as Cass, I went as Dean. It was like a femme steampunk thing, which was really cool. And from there, it just kind of blossomed. Up until then, I hadn't been really doing a lot of story writing. I did a lot of fantasy-based role-playing, like post by post. And so I've always loved to write. I've been writing since I can remember reading stories. So, when I was really, really young. But Destiel was the first fandom where I actually sat down and decided, you know what, I'm going to try to tell a story. So, wrote my first fanfic for the Destiel fandom. And then, I just kind of took off from there. It's got a life of its own. Met some really great friends. My beta, Yana May, she is absolutely fantastic. The most amazing writer, and she is so good with editing. She helped me become the writer that I am today, which was super amazing. And her story, Say Something, is one of the best things ever. Anybody can tell you that who's read it. And so, I've made some really awesome friends throughout being in fandom. A lot of them helped me through my pregnancy, which was awful, even though it was very textbook. And I'm rambling now, I'm sorry. But yeah, so and then it brought me to Profound Bond, where I met Criftle and Lee and all the other mods here, and through the DCBB as well, I met some really great friends and people that I talk with every day, like people that I talk with more than I do my real life friends. And you know, these are the people that keep me sane now that I get to run around with a 2-year-old. And, you know, I don't have a lot of other outside stimulation because I'm a stay-at-home mom who's doing stuff on the side. But, yeah, having these people from fandom just sort of, you know, keeping me relevant, I guess, is really nice. Like, I'm not going crazy. As crazy as I could be. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still watching the show. I love the show. It's got its ups and downs, but you know what? I think I'm with it till the end. Oh, my God, I'm going to be pulling in, like, you know, Stucky lines. I'm with you till the end of the line, pal. But yeah, that was kind of my story in a nutshell. Moving on.
Awesome. All right. You want to go next, Lee?
Yeah, I can go next.
Yes.
I guess, like, Supernatural for me went, like, a really long way back. I used to work at a comic book store, which I loved, and probably almost everyone on the server knows by now. And one of the girls there who was just, like, super cool, like the person that is as cool as you wish you were, she was like, oh, have you watched this show Supernatural? It's got, like, Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, and I didn't know Jared, but I'd watched Jensen in Dark Angel and had, like, a huge crush on him because he's Jensen Ackles. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
So she, like, was like, well, you've got to watch this. So I think she lent me, like, the first 4 seasons on DVD. So I watched that all in, like, a really short amount of time. And I remember, like, I was living in a share house at the time with, like, my ex and, like, a high school friend, and we were, like, 18 or something. And watching it in the dark, and season 1 with all the jump scares, and we're like, oh my God, it's like, it's so scary sometimes. Which is so funny looking back. But anyway. And so we watched it in, like, no time whatsoever, and then she was the one who used to hook me up with, like, the live episodes. So she'd, like, when an episode dropped, she'd, like, come in with the USB and be like, here it is, like, go home, watch it. I think I watched up to, like, season 5 with her, and then I left that workplace to go work at a lab, which is weird, but anyway. And I kind of dropped it off, and then a couple of years later I was like, oh wow, it's still going, and I picked it back up again, watched all the way to, like, season 8, and then dropped it off because I'm, like, really lazy at watching one episode at a time. So that the series of drop-offs. And then, yeah, like as I said, I was kind of writing Steric and I was in circles, but there was, like, people talking about Supernatural, and it just kind of, like, reignited my love for it. And so I joined the server, and I wasn't really intending to catch up. Like, it's a show that I enjoy, but I wasn't going to put any real effort into it. But when I joined the server, I kind of started rewatching. I watched, like, 5 seasons over the summer, the Australian summer, anyway. And then I started catching up to, like, where I'd been to before. And I kind of, like, got really apprehensive and scared again of, like, you know, new episodes can be scary. But thanks to, like, some really cool people on the server, like, they kind of convinced me to keep going and to support me in watching it, which sounds really silly, but new shows can be scary sometimes. They're not as comforting as old shows. So that, like, the show has helped me to watch that, and people in the fandom have helped me to watch that. The fandom, though, has been super helpful, and, like, the fics that I've read are amazing. I relate a lot to some of the characters. Like, I lost my mum quite young, and I kind of relate a lot to that feeling that Dean and Sam have of this person and this event that hangs over you, but that you can never really do anything about. It's always there. So I really like exploring that in fics and finding that explored in fics and finding how people deal with these things. And it's so great to see, like, so many fics in Supernatural as well that are actually, like, have a lot of depth. And there's nothing wrong with fics that don't have depth. Like, you can read a fic that's just, like, porn without plot, or you can read a fic that is just, I just want to see, like, a fluffy kiss or a happy engagement. But there's a lot of fics in Supernatural that I find really go for that kind of depth and range of emotion, and I think that's something that will always pull me into them. And also so many talented writers in Supernatural. Oh my god. So, yeah, I love it here. That was lengthy, sorry.
It's all good, it's all good.
So your turn, Crypto.
All right. Well, I've had some trouble, like, picking what story, because I've actually been in the fandom since the beginning. I caught the pilot when it aired. I was I was a senior in high school. Well, okay, I would have been a senior in high school, but I actually dropped out of high school, so I was not, but I would have been. And yeah, my relationship with Supernatural is strange and on really a lot like yours, Lee, where it's like on and off. Because I started out in the very beginning and I didn't actually get into the fandom until Cass showed up. And I mean, I had read, like, I've been in fandom my whole life. Literally my whole life. I was reading and writing X-Files fanfiction at the age of 6. Or 7, I think, is when it started. And Twin Peaks a little bit before that. Like, I've literally been in fandom forever. So there's never a show that I don't at least read, like, a couple fics here and there. But it was just, like, kind of casual. Like stuff that I would see on my live journal feed, my friends page, as it was back then. But then once Cass showed up, like that fucking barn scene, y'all, I was like, oh, actual sparks, here we go. And then I was just like all in, like balls to the wall, full on. And I pretty much have been since. Sorry. Oh. Like they were.
Yes, sorry, continue.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I was pretty big into the early Destiel fandom on LiveJournal and doing like the kink meme and all that jazz. Used to follow all the gossip stuff from the sidelines, never participated. But yeah, and I was really quiet in the fandom for a long time until the Tumblr fandom kind of came about, and then I started participating. But that's kind of my history with the fandom in general. But what I want to talk about, like, as far as being impacted by something, I think what I'm gonna talk about is Exercise in Worthless by Beast of the Sky, which is my all-time favorite Dean Cass fic. And there's a lot of fics out there that have impacted my life in ongoing, meaningful ways. But that fic actually changed how I think about myself as a person and how I interact with the world around me. Like, if you haven't read the fic, you have to. It's exceptional. It's an AU. It's about Dean as a tattoo artist, basically. And the character of Dean in that had an incredibly profound impact on me. I have a tattoo on my body that is actually a tattoo that Dean has in the fic. And I have it on my wrist where I can look at it literally every day. And a lot of that fic is about Dean overcoming past trauma. And a lot of it is guilt with trauma that he's had in the past that makes him feel like he's a bad person, which we know Dean struggles with in pretty much everything, in every way, canon and not. But the way that fic handled it just spoke to me. And so pretty much right after I finished reading it, I had a pretty hard time with postpartum depression and then kind of alcoholism right after that for a while. And I kind of hit this rock bottom. And then I read that fic almost immediately after when I was going through a lot of really bad guilt about, like, the postpartum depression just makes you feel like the worst person ever because you're like, oh, I should be happy to have a baby, but I'm not. And then with, like, falling into alcoholism with that, I was like, I'm drinking all the time and ignoring my kids. And I had stopped by that point, but I was still just like, I couldn't even, like, live on a day-to-day basis because I was so guilty over that rock bottom that I had hit. So I read this fic, and Dean was basically dealing with the exact same feelings that I was. And it just spoke to me. And then the way that, like, his relationship with Sam and with Cass evolves through that fic and the way that he finds this family, and he finds forgiveness for himself, and he moves on from it, but it's not like perfect.